Hi everybody, welcome back to Bentley House. I'm Ara, and today I'm going to be showing you how I made this draped fabric effect. This is a really easy, fun way to create some interest in your furniture pieces. Even if you don't create your own upholstered furniture and you buy furniture, you can add your own special touches with this effect. The first thing you're going to need is your miniature furniture that you want to drape fabric over. You will also need some small print fabric that complements your furniture. This piece I have glued over the edges to make it look more like a finished blanket. This can be easily done with some tacky glue and a miniature iron. I also have these other two pieces and I left the edges a little bit rough. It's because the smaller one's going to become a rag and the larger one is going to look like more of an unfinished piece of fabric. You're also going to want to grab some aluminum foil because this is what we're going to be using to protect our miniature furniture. Because we're working in miniature, fabric does not carry the same type of weight it does in this scale as it does when you use fabric in real life. So oftentimes it doesn't look realistic when you try and drape it over a furniture. Because of this, we have to force this look by following these steps. First, you want to take your aluminum foil and carefully mold it around your furniture. This is basically creating a mold for your draped fabric to conform to, so try to make it as accurate to the original piece as possible. You want to do this to all the pieces you want to put some draped fabric on. Even if you plan to permanently attach the fabric to your miniature, the process of this could stain fabric and cause mold to grow inside upholstered pieces. So this is a very important step. After all your pieces are protected, you're ready to create your draping solution. First, I start with a little bit of water in the bottom of a container, and then I add tacky glue just a bit at a time until I have a solution that looks a little bit like milk. You don't want to add too much glue, that's why I add a little bit at a time, because you do not want a gluey substance on the surface of your fabric once it's dry. This means the solution is mostly water. If you're worried about getting this solution mix correct, make sure you do a couple of practice pieces before you work on your final piece. You want to take whatever fabric you plan on draping and dip it into the draping solution. This is the fun part where you get to be creative. You can drape it over the back, over the arms, you can put it in a pile on the floor. You can just create all sorts of folds and realistic looks in this way. As long as the fabric's still wet, you can work with it until you're happy. After I've got a look that I like, I am going to take some masking tape and I am going to turn it sticky side out. This is going to act as a brace to help my fabric stay in place. Once it dries, it's very possible that the edges could start coming up and not look as though they are weighted and hanging down over the miniature. So this masking tape is going to help keep it in place so that I know that my final dried piece is going to look how I want it to look. I'm going to do this anywhere on the miniature that there is a piece hanging down. I want to force the look of gravity. To create a more tattered and worn piece of fabric, I'm going to pull at the edges of this piece, and that's going to just create a frayed edge. This is, of course, one of my favorite things to do to fabric. I prefer the worn and old look. You can also fray interior pieces, cut holes in it, make it look just like an old piece of fabric that's been draped over an old piece of furniture. This is a really fun way to add character and add a storyline to pieces of furniture in your miniature project. For this project, I've decided to drape it mostly over the arm, over the cushion, and then onto the floor. It may be because I have kids, but I seem to find that most blankets I have resting on my couches seem to end up somewhat on the floor. I'm also going to secure this with masking tape, and then to keep that tight curve in the inner part of the arm, I'm going to put a plastic bottle in there temporarily. To create the rag I mentioned earlier, I'm going to make an A-frame out of foam board, and then I'm going to cover it with aluminum foil. This will keep the foam board from wrinkling from the use of water. Then I'm going to take a toothpick to create a peg. I'm just going to stick it through the foam board and out the back so that it's secure. With this process, you can make many of these rags at one time if you'd like to. For this video, I'm just making one. Again, I'm going to fray the edges because, like I said, this is a rag for maybe use in the kitchen or use in a garage, and so I want it to look a little worn and tattered. I'm going to dip it in my solution like I did the other blankets and just start playing with it so it looks like it's freely hanging of its own gravity off of the peg. I don't secure this one with masking tape, but you're more than welcome to if you feel it's not forming the way you would like it. After I've let everything dry thoroughly for a couple days, I can remove the masking tape and make sure it still has the form that I like. And I can also take off the aluminum foil from the furniture and slowly and carefully peel the fabric from the aluminum foil. If the foil was fairly snug against the exterior of my miniature, that means the fabric should fit well when I put it onto the miniature. At this point, you can either choose to glue the fabric permanently to your chair, or you can choose to leave it removable. If you decide to glue it down, you can probably make it a snugger fit, but if you leave it removable, you have options and you can always change it out seasonally. The tattered blanket, of course, turned out to be my favorite. I love how it looks like it's spilling onto the floor, and I love how natural the edges look. One other option I didn't show was aging the fabric. If it's supposed to be an old blanket, you can always use an acrylic wash to add some staining or some interesting effects. With the rag, all you have to do is let it dry, and when you pull it off, you should have an easy to hang piece of fabric. There'll be a slot in the back from where you hung it onto the peg. You can just grab a miniature piece of furniture and hang it off the knob. So that's it for this fabric draping tutorial. I hope you guys liked it. Thanks for hanging in there with me with this voice. I feel a lot better than I sound, so please don't worry about me. I'm just waiting for my voice to come back. Hopefully it'll be fine by next week's live stream. Anyway, I really hope you enjoyed this. If you make anything using this tutorial, I'd love for you to tag me on Instagram. I love to see what you guys make. Yeah, like this video, please, subscribe, and join us for future videos in the coming weeks. Bye.